Hello everyone, welcome back. This is the second video of JavaScript, and we're going to talk about really the pillars of JavaScript, the most important things in JavaScript, that they are even the most important things in most programming languages. So if you already studied some programming languages, these things you already know. If not, you will understand it now. Maybe it's a little confusing, but there is nothing too complicated. We're going to talk about what is a variable, how to declare a variable, and the rules, how to name it, initialize a variable, the difference between let and var, update a variable, the type of variables, dynamic typing, and constants in JavaScript. First, let's say what is a variable. We can compare variable to boxes. Is a usual comparison. Boxes, in a box, you can place whatever you like. For example, if in our box we place the number 3, and so this box contains number 3. Of course, if all the boxes could contain only a value, it would if all the boxes would be hard-coded in a technical language, it will be quite useless because your code couldn't do anything different from a moment to another. But of course, as the name says, variable, your code can change during the interaction with it. No, so if you can say that a variable, that a box, that in the box there is x plus 2. So then when you initialize the variable, you can say x is equal to 7 because you input 7, and so the variable is 9. Or you can input 4 and the variable is 6, or you can input 6 and the variable is 8. This is basically how variable is it. How do I declare a variable? Of course, inside the script, you write let. For now, we write let at least, and then we write, for example, nome, which is name in Italian. But anyway, this is the name of the variable, and this is how to declare a variable, theoretically. Then we can write console log, and then we write nome. Then you come here, and we always use semicolon in JavaScript. Is a rule after every statement. Maybe there are some exceptions, but anyway, you come here. The page is blank, of course, but if you go to the DevOps tool, the Dev tool, it's saying, okay, sorry, my mistake, I forgot to here console.log. So anyway, now you come back here, and if you say here in console, there is an object, a variable that is undefined because we didn't assign any value to nome. Then if we come here and we write here, and we go with cognome, which is surname, by the way, and we go to the tool. He's saying there is a variable that is undefined, that is our nome, and he's saying that the cognome is not defined. It's giving the error that of before, because of course we yet didn't give any value to cognome. Talking about the rules, how to declare variables, we have some conventions. That is, you can use numbers, all the letters, and all the minuscule letters. All of these are allowed, and you cannot use space, so you can't write I don't even know what to write. Nome, sorry, I use Italian. You cannot use space. This is username in Italian. You cannot use a space in between. You cannot use this in between. you cannot you can use this, but the best is to use what we call camel case. In PHP, the basic rules between developers is to use this, but in JavaScript is to use camel case. So each name, each mm, word um, are um, are started with uppercase because it's more readable. Because it's readable to the human eyes. This is writing preference of consumer. Anyway, if you want, you can even just write like this. Oh shit. Sorry. Doesn't matter. I have problems with my keyboard. Anyway, you can use underscore as I told you. Okay. Okay. You can even write like this is not the best choice. Then other things, you cannot start with numbers. Is a mistake. You cannot there are special characters that you cannot use, but you will never use it. Then you cannot use, of course, keywords. You cannot define a variable that is called var or define a variable that is called let, but not just these. There is for, there is while, all these you cannot use it. Then other than the strict rules, other rules, your variable should mean something. I mean, we're talking about name, so you write name. If your variables represent the username, you are not going to write X because you can, but it will be fucking mess when 2 months later you are going to have a look at the code and try to understand what you wrote. Um, and no space. I already said it, and I think I didn't forget anything. So yes, I didn't forget anything. So let's move on. We talked how to declare a variable, and now we're talking how to initialize a variable. So now we have declared the variable. If I do like this, if I do it like this, I initialize the variable. What does it mean? Before I declared the variable, so I took a box, but the box was empty. Now I initialized the variable, so I put a value inside the box, which is Paolo. So if you come here, we open the live server, and we go on the dev tools. Okay, there is still the error of before, but here you can see there is Paolo. There is Paolo as a new variable that is declared and initialized. Anyway, this one I take it away. Okay, then what is the difference between let and var? The difference between let and var is a little complex, and it goes into what is the difference, what is a scope of a variable. A scope of a variable can be block scope or block scope or function scope, and so one is block scope and the other is function scope, and I don't want to speak about it. There is even some sort of something that is called hoisting that is about var, and you should I think you should just have a look at this if you are interested about it, because actually it's not really a practical stuff. The only thing I say is that variable is older and this is new, and people just tend to use let, and there are some exceptions that you will come across, that you just need to figure it out by yourself, I think. Anyway, So what I say is not really important the difference between let and var because you are going to use let. But if you have a look maybe on some documentation, you will find something that might be interesting to read. That is related, with computer science and all the stuff of how things really work on the background. Anyway, update a variable. You cannot write let nome and just use another name is wrong because you are declaring another variable. You could do it with var, for example. You could, it doesn't matter, but you can just take the variable and give it another value straightforward. And now, if we go here, since, as I said, the code, the previous video, the code is read from top to bottom. The variable before was Paolo, and then it's changed to Matteo. So the value now has become Matteo. Sorry, I forget this, but as you see, JavaScript has forgiven me. Thank you very much. And now let's talk about the types of variables. Variables can be numbers, string, boolean, array, or object. A variable can be a number. You can assign to nome a number that is an integer, or can be a float. Float is a decimal number. Integer is a integer number. Very straightforward. Can be a string. It can be even a huge string. So whatever. There is no limitation. And it can be a boolean. A boolean is a variable that accepts only two values, true or false. You might say that this is a strange, useless variable, but if you think about when a website decides if you're online or not and places a green dot near your account, is probably or for sure using this kind of structure. Now is online is true, is not true, and then it's displaying what's the answer in its own way. And then there are the arrays and the objects, which are we will talk about it more extensively, but now let's see. An array is a list of items. For example, let employee, this list of items, for example, this employee in this society, there is Paolo, who is an employee, and then there is Matteo, who is the other employee, and then there is Luca, who is the other employee. And if I go here and I say console log.employee, you can see that here we have an array with Paolo, Matteo, and Luca. And these three names has a value. They have an index, which unfortunately, let's say, it starts from 0 and not from 1. And this can be a little tricky at the beginning because you may think that they start from 1, but they start from 0. So Paolo is 0, Matteo is 1, Luca is 2. And if you want to come here and display only one of them, you can display 0, for example, and the console will be displayed Paolo. If you come here and you say 2 in the console, will display Luca. Okay, so you can even display only one item of the array using square brackets and the index. Okay, then there are the objects. which actually array are objects. So array is a special object. But since you know uh, objects are more difficult to explain, we start from the array and then from the object is what everyone, even books, does. No. For example, we want an object that is a vehicle object, and then you define the features with the parentheses, and inside you can define, for example, model. The model of the car is a string that says Toyota. Then um, the fuel of the car is a string that says that the car is using diesel. Then no. Then the age of construction, and as you see here, I'm using camel case. This is what we were talking about before. Age of construction is a number, so you can even place it as a string. It's the same thing. It will appear as can be either a number or a string in this case. And then we have I don't know, I wanted to show an array, so employee involved into building, into project, and we have this array of Paolo, Luca, and Matteo. Okay, so now if I come here and I console log vehicle, let's see what it does. It will throw an error. Yes, it will throw an error. Now wait, but I forgot this. Let's see if it forgives me. It will probably forgive me. It's very forgiven. You see, JavaScript is very forgiven. Some other are less. Anyway, it's saying an object. Wait. An object. Age of construction. Employee involved. This is not something we want to see. Fuel, model, etc. So we see that all of its properties. I would like you to think about what we did with the array. The array was written like this. Oops. Was written like let class, and then we started to write and then we wrote this class now, and each of these has an index. This is index 0, this is index 1, this is index 2. Here we wrote vehicle, Toyota, diesel, age of construction, and the index are not 1, 0, 1, and 2, but the index are model, fuel, age of construction, and employee. So theoretically, objects are less strict than array because we are defining not just the value, but even the key, the index, the key. Here, the key is always a number, and then the value. And I think is not necessary to understand it, but if so, good. And of course, here we can come here and we can console.log vehicle. You use like this kind of formula, vehicle.model, and you're saying console.log the model of vehicle. console.log the model of vehicle, Toyota, console.log the employee involved in the project, console.log, so console.log the employee involved in the project of vehicle, and we have the array Paolo, Luca, e Matteo, console.log the people involved in the project, the second one, the second employee involved in the project. As you see, we're making also already a combination of the two. And of course, Luca. Okay, so you can, of course, display all the things inside, and of course, you can nest like hell, you know, because you can have an object, and inside the object we have another object. I don't want to do it. An object inside an object that has an array inside. So you can become crazy with these things, but sometimes it happens. So maybe you will need to face this kind of issues. Anyway, let's move on. Dynamic typing. A programming language can be dynamically or static typed. And what does this mean? That now we defined our vehicle, and our vehicle that is equal to a plane, but we didn't say explicitly what is this vehicle variable, what type this variable is. We just assign it a value, and if we go and we go to check the type of our variable, you can see that it says that it's a string. Automatically it recognizes it as a string because it's between two quotes, and I forgot this, but now if I come here, now it's saying number because I changed its value, and it automatically recognizes which value is assigned to. This is not this is JavaScript, and is a good part, good and bad of JavaScript. Let's say that is good because it makes you more comfortable and faster to be the code to be typed, but not every piece of code does like this. TypeScript, for example, which is a superset of JavaScript, so it's another programming language, but it's really JavaScript, another way of JavaScript, or Java. They are static typed, so every time you place a variable, you have to specify that this variable is a string, or you're saying this is a boolean, and is of course this way is faster and more fast, and so better. But sometimes maybe you if you are compiling, for example, if a group of developers are participating on a large project, maybe the manager wants to use TypeScript and not JavaScript because they want to rely on this continuous check, no? that you need to say which variable is what, so that there won't be problems later on because of some bugs that they got generated during the compilation, and they never got on the surface because JavaScript is flexible and doesn't show these problems till runtime. If they use TypeScript, for example, these problems will appear immediately while they code. So it's not good or not bad. It's just a property of JavaScript, and that's it. The last thing, we said that exists let and var variables, but exist const, which of course is not a variable, it's a constant, and const account const account equal to I don't know, my account, sorry, but my account 1999, like a lot of people does, you know, my account underscore 1999. Anyway, if you define a constant, you cannot do what we have said, what we saw already, that you just write account equal to Paolo, and then you come here and you just console log your you console log account. It of course finds a mistake, type error, error type, assignment to a constant variable, etc., etc. The reason is that you cannot, once you assign a constant, you cannot modify this constant, and this is good for if yourself maybe forget that you have given this name to this account, to this database, then you rewrite it and you lose your name forever, or maybe for other reasons. Anyway, that's enough. We said everything we should about this video. And the next videos we're still going to talk about these basic blocks, so we're going to talk about the numbers and operators and something like this. I hope you enjoyed, and see you in the next video. Bye.